Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started. One story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link.
Hello, hello. Ah, now you can hear me, I bet. Put it in the comments. You know what? Oh, yeah, now I see it's lighting up. Something was going on over there. Now you can hear me. All this time you couldn't hear me. Okay, well, I didn't say much. Trust me. That poor guy. All this time we thought it was him. His first time. I know you can hear me now, right? Can you hear me now? Yes. And Sherry, thank you for calling. So you can hear me now. I had my tech guy here last week. Anyway, you know what that tells me? I'm going to tell you something, y'all. Manifest Monday. See what I'm saying? That means we're going to talk about something today that is so important for somebody that all of those things. Thank you, Sherry. Loud and clear, she said. Something. Now, this is a real thing. I'm waiting for him to come back in because he's out there trying to fix something that doesn't need to be fixed. God, get him back in here. Get him back in here, Lord. So anyway, I wanted to tell you that. I really believe that when things try to stop you, or like that technical difficulty or anything, a flat tire, and you're like, oh, I'm already late, and like getting to the airport and fretting if you're going to get through anything that's like that, I'm going to tell you, I just take a breath and go, okay, something was working really hard to get in the way of what we're doing here. So let's find out what was so important that everything tried to get in the way so that it would not happen. So, amen to that. For real. I look at it all, you guys. I'm waiting for Andrew to come back in. But I can tell you a little bit about him while we're waiting. Let me call him. Poor thing. And he's such a nice guy. He really is. Let me just call him. Watch this. Poor thing. I feel bad. Hi, Bernadette. Bernadette, that picture you posted, that new profile picture. Come on in. It's not you. It was me.
Say it again.
Come on back in. It wasn't you. It was me.
Oh, okay.
You're on. They hear me talk. They're watching me talk to you.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye. So anyway, that's Andrew. So Andrew, let me tell you. Yeah, Bernadette. My goodness, girl. I think you should just come on out and be a model, and quit playing with it. You guys head over to Bernadette's page and take a look at what I'm talking about. You'll see. You look absolutely stunning. You really do. So anyway, you guys, yeah, Andrew's coming back in. You heard that. So I talked about, Andrew, how did I meet Andrew? Andrew's a filmmaker, y'all. We're going to take a look at his latest film. The storyline is just incredible. I am telling you this. Last year during Gay Pride Month, Brian and I were picked up. We're under contract with Triple Nickel. I wear their hats. They're an apparel line in the Library of Congress for some PSAs that we did regarding Stonewall in New York. And, neither Brian nor myself, okay, clearly, knew nothing about the Stonewall story. Maybe some surface things, but not down in there. Like we had to learn to do those PSAs. So anyway, this guy, Andrew Tyler, has a film out it's called The Secret Weapon. And it's all about a period of the civil rights movement when all these children were being arrested. And it was a part of the movement. I did not know anything at all about it. I did not. Hi, Facebook user. Is that you, James Cooley? Thank you, guys. I got to start looking at the comments quicker. Everybody was telling me they couldn't hear me. Sorry. But again, it's never about one thing. Can I get an amen, y'all? So listen. What now? Where in the world is he? Do I have to call him? Let me find out what's going on with him. Oh, there he is. Okay, never mind. Okay, never mind. Okay, you can hear me. He's coming back in. So anyway, yeah, I did, and I'm gonna tell you something. When these things happen for me as a black person, as a black man, I'm like, how in the world did I not know this? How did I not know this thing about the secret weapon? So anyway, y'all want to see that before I get him in here? Yeah, let's do that. Let's watch that. Watch this. And then by the time it finishes, he'll be here. Because he's backstage. I was looking at it. Take a look. Really incredible.
try to force yourself onto someone so vicious, like the white, blue-eyed devil, Bull Connor. They'll go to the extreme.
In this section alone, there are 4 cells full of us. They even locked up Leon. He's blind.
You don't want to.
Not Leon.
I'll put him on the chain gang, boy. Now listen, Al. That's what you desire to be called. I'm going to give you a little piece of sound advice. If you ain't looking to share King's old cell with those little colored cockroaches. Roaches.
Roaches.
Coming from everywhere. Today, close to 1,200 now. Bevel, Dorothy, Andy, Hosea, all of them out front like kids in a candy store. Greeting the kids.
Bring out the dogs.
Think I flew this to you? Just the one that was driving. The other one was trying to protect.
Are you first of all to see this side of us? If you could stop it, Reverend, you need to stop it. Sir, what are we gonna do? Just keep filling up the hog pens.
So, Fred, where you go?
To be with those children.
That don't make no sense. Oh, y'all. You hear now, Andrew? Man,
I am.
That thing looks so good.
You know what? As I was sitting there watching it, rewatching it. Sometimes you watch it outside of yourself because you're editing. I'm the editor for the film. You sit back and you watch it again, and you're like, wow, this is actually this is our real life history. This is what we went through.
But it's just not just the story, the way. I mean, every character. I can't stand that one guy talking about hog pens. I couldn't stand him as soon as he opened his mouth. First time, look, you know what that reminded me of? The first time I watched Roots with was it Roots? Roots or The Color Purple, both of them with Brian. My husband, he's white, he hadn't seen it. And then I think my family members, nieces and nephews were here. And all of a sudden he said, why is everybody staring at me? Because we were like, you get mad. Oh, welcome to Bathrobe Moments, Andrew, Tyler. I'm so glad, and thank you for stepping up last minute. We were getting you on anyway, and we're going to get you back. But I am telling you, just tell everybody, I'm going to give you the floor for a moment because we didn't have a bio. Go ahead and give them a living spoken word bio, if you would.
Yeah,
and tell
absolutely.
everybody a little bit about you, where you're from, where you're at in the world right now. And then we can come back. I'll come back in, and you can get started telling us about this awesome story.
I was going to say, first and foremost, thank you for having me on the show, man. I really do appreciate you for this moment. God bless you. I don't take it lightly. Whenever I can come on to anyone's platform, I do not take it lightly at all. So when I couldn't hear you, I was like, oh my God, I'd have messed something up.
It wasn't you. It was something, but like I said, while you were getting ready to come back, I was telling everybody, I treat that stuff just like flat tires and anything. I'd be like, was working so hard to get in the way. Something good coming. It's going to be one humdinger today because they worked awfully hard, them negatives, trying to get in here and block something.
Well, let me say, of course, my name is Andrew Tyler. I own Tylerman Films LLC. It's the only African American owned film company in DuPage County, actually, and I also own the Tylerman International Film Festival, and that is hosted by Cantini Park in Wheaton, Illinois. This year, we're having a portion of our film festival at Studio Movie Grill, and then the other part will be at that Saturday and Sunday at Cantini Park out in Wheaton, Illinois, right off of Roosevelt and Winfield Road. It's a 500-acre facility. It's a beautiful place, 2 museums, outdoors, golf course, the whole gamut. When it comes to me, I started this thing. Let me tell you, man,
Wait. I got something for you. Okay,
what's that?
You got a couple more things you want to throw in? Go ahead. Here come y'all.
Oh, shameless plug. You know what?
Who
Let me say
I
this.
wanted to shout out to my hairdresser. Thank you,
Yes.
Clarissa. Thank you, girl. And, to the Freeze Cup lady over on Jefferson Park who took care of us Saturday when it was hot. We was thirsty. Thank
You know
you.
what? I do want to give a shout out to Reverend Mitchell. When my first job on the watermelon stand, this dude paid us $5 a day to run up and down stairs and take watermelon. I was 12 years old, didn't know no better, and then I would go get 500 penny candies with my little $5.
I know that's right. That looked like, you know how much 500 penny candies?
Yes. Oh God,
Man. So you should have flipped them joints. You should have sold half of them for 2 cents a piece.
Oh God, he was an evil man. I don't reverend nothing. He was such an evil man. He just he was such.
He exploiting and all that.
Yeah,
look,
I grew up on the west side of Chicago, and I was right off of Roosevelt and Pulaski, actually.
So you're born and raised here.
Well, not raised. I was born here till I was about 13, 14. Went to Steinmetz High School for my first year of high school, and then I relocated to Minnesota. So I don't know how to feel about it. Half of my life I was there, and over half of my life I was in Minnesota. I grew up in St. Paul, Minnesota, for a little while for my teenage years.
So look, I'm just gonna say, you know what? We love you and all, but I got to get to this movie.
Yeah, let's get to it right quick.
I'm just saying that thing. And you guys, I met Andrew at the Power of We Symposium back in April when we were at the Stam Mansion. He came with the Soul Children of Chicago, and we'll get into that near the end of the broadcast. You can talk about what you guys are doing, big things here in Chicago coming up in just a few short weeks. And then we also want to talk about your film festival. But this story, I did not know. Tell us about this story, what this movie is all about in these kids.
So the Children's Crusade. In the film, you'll see John Lewis, Reverend Abernathy. There's Fred Shuttlesworth, who never gets credit. He was actually blacklisted because he cussed out Dr. King. And he didn't necessarily cuss him out, but he had authority in Birmingham. So at the time, when all of those children that we see in the 1963 Children's Crusade were getting bit by dogs, water hosed, I'm talking about the Freedom Riders, the whole gamut.
Yeah.
Reverend Shuttlesworth in Alabama was like the lead person. Dr. King and Abernathy came down to Alabama and said, okay, how can we help? And what the kids were doing, the parents were getting fired from their jobs. They couldn't vote, of course, and they were being retaliated against. I'm talking about being lynched, killed, the whole gamut. And the children, I don't know if you remember, but Kanye West said that his mother was arrested for the sit-ins in one of his songs when she was 6 years old. And she was a part of that Children's Crusade down in Alabama, where all of the kids just started filling up the jail cells. And they would say, my name is Jill Freedom for the girls. And the guys would say, my name is Jack Freedom. And they would go in jail, overcrowd the jails, because anytime somebody tried to vote, they would tell them, guess how many marbles are in this jar, or they put all these foul tests to play.
Guess how many marbles?
Yeah, guess how many marbles are in the jar and you can vote. So, President Barack Obama had mentioned that in one of his speeches when he initially got elected. And he said, for every person that had to guess marbles in a jar, this moment is for you. And people don't even know, and a lot of people don't even know what that means.
I didn't.
Oh God, they had to guess how many marbles in the jar in order for them to vote. They were already registered. And the mindset behind it, Brother Harris, is that no matter what, we're going to put obstacles in your way. So the children started going down to the voting booths and getting locked up. And they gave power back to the movement because, believe it or not, we had lost momentum. Before there was a Rosa Parks getting locked up for the bus, there was the Children's Crusade. And they gave power back to the movement. And there was this vicious man. His name was Eugene Connor. They called him Eugene Bull Connor. That's that guy that you see
the one I
locked him up in the hog pens. Man, this dude was down south. And don't get me wrong, for his day and time, believe it or not, he was considered a noble white man that was fulfilling the prophecy of keeping the legacy alive for white people. So he thought he was doing right. He would lock up all these kids. They run out of jail. And this is the same jail cell that Dr. King wrote the Birmingham letter from when he was incarcerated. So King got locked up first. And then the children end up saying, well, you know what? If King gets locked up, we're all going to go get locked up. and those children gave power back to the movement. And they're the reason that we have a voters' rights bill today, because it touched Robert Kennedy's heart. And then eventually John F. Kennedy saw everything on television where the kids are being water hosed and bit by dogs and all that kind of, and beaten. Let me say this: beaten with nightclubs and billy sticks and everything else.
Now,
let me share this with you really quick. Eugene, can we say the N word on here?
I don't care, because
Eugene
we're talking about time.
This is the real thing. He had a dog named Nigger. The dog was named Nigger. It was a black dog named Nigger that he was sick on the children. Go get him, nigger. Get that nigger. And he would sick those dogs on those kids. He purposely had black dogs. So when you look at some of those shots from the Children's Crusade where the kids are being attacked, there's a lot of black dogs. And I don't know where he get these black dogs from, but most of them were German Shepherds, but majority of them were black. Or if they had a hint of some type of different color, he made sure they were black. And every dog was called nigger. And he would sick those dogs, every dog, and he would sick those dogs on those children. This is in our lifetime, because at the film festival, I'm inviting out Miss Mamie King Chalmers will be there. She was one of the victims from the Children's Crusade. She's one of our unspoken heroes. She'll be at the film festival Friday, August 5th. And then Fred Shuttlesworth's daughter, Ruby Shuttlesworth Bester, she will also be at the Children's Crusade. So, I mean, she'll also be at the film festival. And I'm bringing them out in order for them to be able to talk to the children and discuss what really happened, because most of these kids think it started with George Floyd or Trayvon Martin. And it's crazy. It is crazy how far back some of our youth won't go, because they're saying, oh, that was in your day. No, these people are still alive. This is our day together.
So smart, brilliant on your part. Tell me, how has this, because when you talk about, I remember watching, I don't know which movie it was. It wasn't too long ago, it was a civil rights thing. And they were showing that scene when Kennedy was watching the hosing and stuff and got mad and said, send the National Guard in there, and made the call down there that we're going to come and help. But I don't remember any part of it pointing out or focusing or putting a Klieg light, if you will, a spotlight on the fact that these were children. How did that piece get so buried?
Let me tell you, it's interesting. Mr. Ken Sagos, he played in Nightmare on Elm Street, and he also played in Rosewood. He's the director of the film and the creator of the film. And he grew up in Alabama. And as he was growing, he's in his 60s now, and he said there had never been a true story of the children. And Fred Shuttlesworth gets a black eye because he's the one who told Dr. King, no matter what you do, we are here, we're staying. Because King had believe it or not, Dr. King had a reputation of coming into an area, riling up all the people, and then he would leave. Him and Abernathy, they would just leave, and everybody down there getting their ass whipped. and Dr. King then would just roll out. So they'd be like, okay, we
done stirred up the hornet's nest. Y'all don't worry, get them stingers out. Bye.
That's right. And what Dr. King wanted to do was he wanted to set up a deal. And in the movie, he sets up this deal with Robert Kennedy, not JFK. He sets it up with Robert Kennedy. And he and Kennedy have decided that they're not going to move forward with the remainder of these prison boycotts, if you will. So us getting locked up, us getting beaten, they were just going to squash it, and they wasn't going to show it on TV no more. So Fred Shuttlesworth comes in and he says, hey, who do you think you are? We're not shutting down anything, Dr. King. And Reverend Abernathy tries to tell him, well, just calm down, Mr. Shuttlesworth. Calm down, Fred. King knows the way. But this is a movie about vulnerability, and it shows that King wasn't always right. He wasn't always right. And there's unsung heroes. Oh, God, there's unsung heroes behind the camera and behind our so-called movement that really put Dr. King in check and told him, like, Negro, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. You just can't come in here. We're losing our lives. We're getting killed. And now you just want to go back to, I believe at the time, he might have been staying in Chicago. You want to go back to Chicago, and you want to go back to New York City and go back to Georgia, but we're suffering right here. We're really suffering, and we're not shutting anything down because King wanted to stop it after they saw what was happening to the children. And also, the voice that you hear on screen is meant to be Malcolm X. Malcolm X challenged Dr. King, and he said, who are we to put our children in harm's way? And of course, Malcolm X was against the whole turn the other cheek thing. If you hit me, I hit you back.
He said by any means necessary.
All these kids, and to answer your question really quick, I believe he got buried because all we hear about is Rosa Parks, Dr. King,
the little girls that got blown up,
Thurgood Marshall,
church.
All of the people that may have arrived, and then what happens is that these people took positions in government. A majority of them became senators and congressmen and congresswomen, and they took these positions. And I believe, this is my belief now,
okay,
I believe that could have been the worst thing that ever happened to us, because what it did was it allowed us to start getting paid by the government, and we had to start abiding by their rules. And now you can't just go out, and even though you may go out and start marching and all the rest of the stuff, you can't say what you want to say because it costs you your reelection.
Thank you. Let me just jump in right there. That's a huge piece, people. That's a huge piece. And I'll tell you, it's not just for big things like this. That like what we're talking about here, which it's about, because even what we do, I mean, you and me, same premise here. For instance, the Power We Symposium. The universities, I won't name them, from a certain state, were at the Power We, where I met you. And they were doing a big deal, excuse me, about what they wanted to do with us, until it came to the point after the Power We where they wanted to put you're not a nonprofit. No, we're not. And they say, why not? It kind of keeps people from us from doing business with you.
Absolutely.
I said, because the same reason the civil rights movement was not a nonprofit, because it was a movement. I said, it'll never be. Power We will never be a nonprofit. Why? Because the moment money comes into it, that money becomes a collar. It becomes a gag order. It becomes a version of the story. That's why the Bible says King James's version. Somebody got that right. I don't care if it's been left in or not. Version tells you that what you're reading, some of it could be true. Some of it might not be. It's a version. Okay, so we're going to take a short break, real brief. And when we return, I'd like to get into what prompted you, what led you, where were you? Do you remember the exact moment when the divine download came, Andrew, and you were shown and led to tell this story? So we can talk about why is it so important right now. That and more when we come back. Great time, people, to share this wonderful broadcast out. Bless in the manner in which you want to be blessed. We'll be right back.
I never wanna leave. Yeah, I'm right where I wanna be. We got something you and me, and I can't get rid of this feeling. Just like a magnet, we're just like a magnet. The things we have can't be taken for granted. Now I know that it has always been you. I can't help it, I'm so drawn to you. Just like a magnet, we
Whenever you try to force yourself onto someone so vicious, like the white, blue-eyed devil, Bull Connor, they'll go to the extreme.
In this section alone, there are 4 cells full of us. They even locked up Leon. He's blind.
You know what I'd do to folks when I put them on the chain gang, boy? Now listen, man, if that's what you desire to be called. I'm gonna give you a little piece of sound advice. If you ain't looking to share King's old cell with those little colored cockroaches. Roaches.
Coming from everywhere. Today, close to 1,200 now. Bevel, Dorothy, Andy, Hosea, all of them out front like kids in a candy store, greeting the kids.
Bring out the dogs.
You gonna come through this team? Just the one that was robbed. The other one was trying to protect.
Would you, the rest of the world, see this side of us? If you could stop it, Reverend, you need to stop it. Sir, what are we gonna do? Just keep filling up the hog pens.
Well, Greg, where you going? To be with those children.
I had to show it again. I just had to. Let me ask you something, Andrew. Welcome back, everybody, to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. Our guest today is filmmaker Andrew Tyler. Andrew, that little boy at the end looks to be like he couldn't be more than 5 or 6 years old.
He was 4 years old.
4 years old.
Yes.
Is that creative liberties being taken, or were children really that young and arrested?
Oh no, that's very true. He's documented in the books. 4 years old. They don't say his name. Mr. Canseco said he wouldn't say his name, but they were locked up as young as 4 years old. These kids in the movie, and I don't want to give this away, but Dr. King gets a call and from Dick Gregory. And Dick Gregory, that's right. And Dick Gregory was one of Dr. King's friends and mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And the little child says, Tatum. He can't say freedom yet because he doesn't have his 2 front teeth. He says, I'm being locked up for Tatum. Why are you here?
Wow.
I'm for Tatum. I want Tatum. He doesn't say freedom. He says Tatum.
Chills.
4 years old. No front teeth. No front teeth.
Andrew, where were you when this, because this is an anointed project. I know you know this. I know it, no doubt whatsoever. Tell us about how it felt when you knew you were chosen to bring this particular story to us right now.
You know what? I got a call from Cansegos. I want to share this with you. And many of you may not know, but I'm the uncle of Amir Locke. Amir Locke was gunned down in Minneapolis on February 2nd. He was shot by police. And
February 2nd
of this year. He was a young man. He was asleep on his couch. The police walked in, kicked the couch, and they shot him. They shot him actually 5 times. And he was gunned down. This all over the media, all over the news. My family was recently invited to the White House, and on the tail of George Floyd this past May 25th, they signed an executive order to ban no-knock warrants. So it becomes personal for me when it comes to this movie.
Sure.
With that being said, Amir, Breonna Taylor, Tamir Rice, all of these people were killed with no-knock warrants. Now, we're all up in arms about Roe versus Wade, but the subheading of my movie is Yesterday is Today. So the film is called The Secret Weapon, which were those children, and the subheading is Yesterday is Today.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's up in arms about Roe versus Wade.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the Children's Crusade is the reason, in part, one of the reasons why we even have a Roe versus Wade. So when you think about the mindset of women's liberties and their rights, and them having the right to choose what's going on with their bodies, and whatever side you're on, that's fine. But what I'm saying is that your rights have been taken away. In 15 weeks, your rights were taken away by a Supreme Court that was chosen by Donald Trump, in part, right? So because we haven't voted, because we have become passive, because we have allowed our nature of the ancestors that were embodied in us to say, hey, we have a right to be here. Some of us have taken it for granted, and we have disallowed we have allowed ourselves to go into what I like to call the rabbit hole. Who are we to allow for a Supreme Court and not vote during the primaries and not vote during our actual time of voting to stand up and say, hey, all of that stuff that Dr. King and the rest of our people got whipped over and beaten over, and these children got killed over, because a lot of them got killed. Medgar Evers killed. These people got killed, including my nephew. They got killed. So it touched my heart, and it touched the mindset of when I'm working on this type of a film. I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, we have really dropped the ball. We have dropped the ball, and we have given our power. We have turned over our power and relinquished it back to a bunch of racists, a bunch of ignorant racists that didn't want us to have power in the first place. We have set ourselves back 400 years, believe it or not.
I believe
we have set ourselves back 400 years by simply not voting during the primaries. So when it comes to voting and the real job of taking back the Senate, we got the Congress, but the Senate is the ones with the power. So when you think about the mindset of this type of a film, you have to bring your children out to this movie, because when you hear from Ruby Shuttlesworth, I'm talking about Fred Shuttlesworth's actual daughter, who was there, who was locked up. Let me share this with you really quick, Mr. Harris.
Go ahead.
Said she got locked up. She was upstairs in a jail cell. Her brother was downstairs in a jail cell underneath her. And what they would do is they would sing back and forth to each other to let each other know that we're okay. So when you hear a song like we shall not be moved, they're actually singing to each other. And the brother would be downstairs because he couldn't be locked up with the women, of course. And then he would also sing back, we shall not be moved, just like a tree. So they're rooted. They're rooted and they're standing firm, because they believe that one day we'll all have an equal society and be free. But not in the case of Roe versus Wade, not in the case of Tamir Rice, Breonna Taylor, and of course, Amir Locke, because you have Supreme Court justices that have made laws and rules that say, you know what, to hell with those black people. I don't care what they've done or how they've done it. We're still going to allow for certain rules to come our way and always side with white people, if you will. There's a white supremacist mindset in this country that has never been removed, ever.
Oh, no, of course not. No, of course not. And I just want to say this piece that, thank you, Facebook user. Oh, that's beautiful, brother and sister singing to each other. That actually, that's
a real life story.
Well, and that's always been all the way back to slavery with even the Underground Railroad. That's how they knew it was time to come out and get ready to go. Singing response.
That's right.
I believe even in the slave ships, that was something that has always been a means of immediate healing and comfort for our people.
You know what's interesting? When Trayvon Martin was killed, and President Barack Obama got on television and he said, "I am Trayvon Martin." That could have been me. People called him racist. They said it was reverse racism. How dare he say such a thing? And I'll never forget looking at Barack Obama on television, tearing up about what happened to Trayvon Martin and how George Zimmerman got away with it. There are laws, and Zimmerman wasn't an officer. Here's the other thing about this. Zimmerman was Hispanic. He was a Hispanic man that killed a black brother, right? White people jumped on the bandwagon because he looked like them and supported him. And I'm talking about gun rights advocates, the NRA. He ended up getting a $300,000 donation in the name of white supremacy. What I'm saying to you is that yesterday really is today. Those children that were fighting back then, These are the same children that are fighting right now and protesting and marching in the streets and shutting down the Dan Ryan, going out on the Dan Ryan and chaining themselves in links and going out and laying across the highway, shutting down the highway in order to get attention that these laws and unjust laws be changed.
Well, and with, like you said, what's it going to take? This thing with Roe versus Wade reminds me of how when people woke up shocked the day after Trump was elected. How did that happen? But the thing about it is, the key is waking up. But the lock that keeps us from moving forward is that we wake up too late. We wake up too late.
I normally call myself a Republican. I voted both Republican and I voted Democrat.
Right.
I
Who's right?
And if I'm being honest, I've never voted for Donald Trump. But people in my primaries, I have friends that are Republicans, and I know that they are really good people. We may not have the same viewpoints, so there's been times, very minimal times, where I voted Democrat. I am a Democrat, but when I look at the mindset of independence and how we can vote and who we should vote for, at least I'm somewhat learned about who is willing to not lock up Black folks and just throw away the key when it comes to, I want to say this to your audience. My grandmother was on her birth certificate, it said colored. My mama's birth certificate says Negro, mine says Black, and my daughter says African American. The African American and most Black people have lost a step when it comes to Negroes and colored folk. Colored folk had to survive Jim Crow. Negroes had to survive the Civil Rights Movement. Most people in my generation had to survive mass incarceration. And my daughter is the first person to have all of her rights. But she's in such a utopia almost that it's almost like a kumbaya. And sometimes the African American thinks a little bit differently than the Black person, and the Black person thinks differently than the colored person or the Negro. And while we're all the same, we all come from the same bloodline, many of us, the African American and I believe Black folk, have given up on the mindset of, well, now that we have our rights to vote, who cares? Who cares about it? I'm not going to go vote. I could care less about voting.
I think
sometimes, Andrew, I'm not saying all people, but sometimes.
Right. Well, and I agree. But I think it's a dual issue. It's the mindset of that, but it's also, there's a Negro experience. There's a colored experience. There's a Black experience. And that is not just based on what we feel, but the experience is what comes back at you from how everyone else around you feels as well. And the reason I bring that up is because I want to ask you, in your movie, I'm certainly hoping, and I get the feeling I saw some of those characters. I just didn't have enough context of their lines at that point to ascertain exactly. But what I'm getting at is that oftentimes too, the white people that were doing the right things, their part gets buried, just like the children's movement got buried. So let's talk about that for a second, because I'm sure you overturned, you found some of that tucked into some historical junk drawers.
They were killed and they were murdered. Most of the white men that marched with Dr. King were beaten. Many of them were pastors. Many of them were clergy. Some of them flew over from Europe. They were killed and they were beaten. You got to remember, at the time you had segregation, so you couldn't stay at a white hotel. White people oftentimes they wouldn't stay at a Black hotel because most of the times they said it would burn down and the water was bad, and even though you drink from the same, all that stuff, all the segregation, right? These countrymen, if you will, which were Klansmen, these were actually Klansmen. They would go and they would round up all of the supporters, all of our white allies, if you will, beat them, ridicule them, lock them up for days. And I'm talking about lock them up with no reason, no rationale. You can get locked up and nobody would even know where you are. You'd be sitting at the bottom of some jail cell in segregation, being whipped, beaten, killed, and tortured. So we had quite a few white allies. But the mindset behind our white allies, what they had supposedly they had voice. And if you were to beat on any of these types of people, the local folk would get mad because they still had their rights. The problem with that came when people started coming overseas. So you had people with the Gandhi mentality at that time and nonviolence movement. But Mr. Harris, these people was getting killed and beaten and whipped, just like black folk. Um, I won't say not as bad, but if you were chosen to be an ally, you were considered a nigger lover. You were considered, how dare you love on those black people? Who do you think you are? And they would spit in your face and wouldn't serve you and treat you just like you were one of the darkies, if you will.
Yeah.
So they too were disregarded. Most of our movement, believe it or not, most of our movement, the financing of the movement came through people like Aretha Franklin. It came through many of our celebrities that kept things alive, and they would donate monies, and they would come out and they would do fundraisers and things of that nature. Aretha, people don't know this, but Aretha Franklin is one of our silent heroes in the civil rights movement. She donated a majority of her monies to she still, even until the day she died, she gave money to Reverend Al Sharpton and the message that he would do with National Action Network and all kinds of stuff.
Awesome.
Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte was one of the founding people when it came to financing the movement and making sure that we made it to Washington on time. The people that would gather up buses and get us out there. Black-owned bus companies, Dr. Lauren, black-owned bus companies that we had at that time. And segregation, sometimes integration is a bad thing because we gave up our power when it came to ownership. You know, when it comes to ownership, we gave everything away.
That gag order, that collar. And you know, it's the patience piece. It's the patience piece. You have purpose, you have passion, but when you combine those two, if you don't have patience, they can be a powder keg. They can be a landmine. You can work it against yourself because you got to be in alignment with divine timing. You really do. And I just want to, I don't want people, we got about 6 minutes left. So tell us about when's the movie coming out? Where can people find it? Tylerman Films. .com. I know they can get over and find out information and stay abreast of when it's coming. But you tell us so we can get excited even more.
So we're going to be August 5th. I have 2 screenings that are going to be showing, one at 3 p.m., one at 6 p.m. So if you're an early bird, come out and see it. We also have another movie. The movie is only 36 minutes long. And anywhere from 36 to 40. I haven't put the credits in yet. But we're going to be showing 2 movies. We're going to be showing The Secret Weapon. Yesterday is today. And then we're going to be showing the McHenry trial. It's about a young man, 14-year-old boy, who earns his college degree and defends his father in a trial where he was accused of murder. But August 5th at Studio Movie Grill in Wheaton, Illinois. That is 301 Rice Lake Square in Wheaton, Illinois, right off of Butterfield Road. It's the same 22nd
right around the corner from my house. I'll be there.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be awesome. And Studio Movie Grill really embraced us, and they gave us the full day to show these movies specifically for our people, for our children.
That's awesome.
I have Mamie King Chalmers. She'll be in the house. She was one of the children that survived the Children's Crusade. There's an iconic photo of her where she's being water hosed, and there's 2 brothers standing behind her. And we have of course Fred Shuttlesworth's daughter. She's going to come out and speak because she was a part of the Freedom Riders and the bus boycotts. People don't even understand what they were being burned off of buses, Dr. Lauren. They were bombing these buses and killing these kids, man. When you think about our allies, our white allies, sometimes our white allies would run out in front of black people and be like, no, you can't hurt them.
Yeah.
And they would get scorched with gasoline and stuff like that.
Literally taking the bullet.
Yeah.
I want to just say this too, because I really admire what I've seen. And so you had one of these. And so if you had one, I can have one too. I'm just
go right ahead.
There's mine. So I just know you saw it on my page.
I see it right now. I'm looking at the thing on the
Yeah, I got in this movie. They called me about it and had a role for me. First time ever. And I'm really excited because it talks about Stonewall. But again, it's about a movement. It's about a movement. And I'm telling you, I'm so encouraged, so very encouraged that so many filmmakers, black, white, and just filmmakers, are deciding that it is time to be silenced no more and to start pulling these golden platinum nuggets, these stories that have somehow found themselves inside of the junk drawers of history, and bringing them out so they can be revived and just learned about. I'm so excited. I want you guys to head over to the website. Let me find it again. And follow this. So anything else coming up? I know you're doing something with Chicago children.
So that's Saturday, August 6th. We're going to be at Cantini Park. I'm showing movies from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. And then starting at around 3 o'clock, we're going to start the concert section of this film festival. We have Dante 5. I don't know if you know Mr. Walter King. He's the only black illusionist in the country. Walter King can make a building disappear. So we're going to have him out for the children. He's our illusionist for the day. And then Dr. Walt Whitman and the Soul Children are celebrating 40 years. This year is their 40th year anniversary of him imparting into children and growing our children. So I'm asking that everybody please come out and support. And then that Sunday, August 7th, I'm showing a movie called it's a veterans movie. The movie literally deals with us Americans dropping bombs overseas during Vietnam and never cleaning them up. Golf-sized bombs. 80 million bombs were dropped on this country, and they're still blowing up people over there right now. Kids are walking around playing, stepping on bombs, and getting killed. So I'm showing movies at 2:30 that deal with our veterans, and Lord willing, we come out and support the veterans.
Awesome. I love it. You always seem to, it seems to me, find those stories that can perpetuate healing, growth, and change, and that's a great thing.
But I appreciate you, man, for having me. The secret weapon is going to be the bomb, but I got to tell you, man, I appreciate you for having me on this show, and God bless you for this platform. This is really awesome, man.
Thank you, and you're welcome back anytime. And I'm gonna tell you, once I get my feet wet with colorblind, keep me in mind, because I love storytelling. And I don't know. I got to.
Well, the plan is to turn this into a feature film, so you might be in the movie, man.
Please,
absolutely. The plan is to actually turn it into a feature film. Once we gather up momentum for this, and let me say this really quick. This is the first movie that Fred Shuttlesworth is in that's non-documentary. We have his daughter. She praised this movie and she endorsed us because this is actually the first movie that he's been in that someone has played his character rather than him being a so-called documentary, if you will.
Right. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I look forward to all that's headed your way. And we are here to support. Isn't that right, everybody? Listen, Andrew, Tyler, thank you so much. I'll be throwing the link to all things Andrew up on the screen as we get out of here today. And I want to thank all of you. Seriously, you could have done anything this morning. You could have been anywhere this morning, but you chose to help us fulfill the greatest promise, which guarantees us that when two or more of us comes together with the same mindset, heart set, soul set, something spectacular is going to happen. And today was just that. Thank you, Andrew, for another illuminating conversation. And thank you all. Join me tomorrow. Who's here tomorrow? Oh, Suave R. Walker. Wait till you meet this guy. Dr. Suave. He's, show up and find out. I'll meet you, God willing, out front on the front porch at 8 a.m. Central, like we always do, Monday through Friday. And we'll do it all again right here on Bathrobe Moments. Have a great day and be that blessing you want to see in the world. Thanks, Andrew, again.
Thank you.
Let's get on my calendar. I want to help. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, man. I will.
Absolutely. See you guys tomorrow. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time.